Good morning and welcome to our live this morning. It is Monday, the 3rd of November 2025. Thank you for joining me. If you're joining me live, a good morning to you. It's rather dull and damp here this morning, so I've got a little bit of assistance from my lights. And I guess that's going to be more and more until we have a nice bright morning again. My name is Jenny McCormack. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire, and that's here in the UK. This morning we have a new stamp set of the week, and I'm focusing really on this one, Stripes and Dots. It's available in the annual catalogue. You can find it on page 93. I'm just going to grab that to show you. And it's what they called a sort of buildable stamp set, which is, it consists of 4 cling stamps. So we've got the stripes, the dots, the narrow stripes, and then the alternating stripes here. And you can use it as one complete one if you wish, so you can just stack them up together. They come slightly attached to begin with on the rubber and the backing, but obviously you can detach them, but you can just stamp them as is. There are some samples here. They've heat embossed this as a complete set, and then on this one they've used the narrow stripe and then cut it up into pieces. No, they haven't, I beg your pardon. One sheet, and then they've done it at different angles. So this particular stamp set is £24 and is perfect for a little bit of stamp surgery. Which, if you've been following me for a while, I'm quite happy to do. I do like to make my stamps work for me, and I felt that although these are really nice, I would get more use out of them if they were in smaller quantities, so I can put them back together again. So for example, here we have 5 lines of dots. So what I've actually done is I've cut mine up. So I've left this one as it is because that's not quite as useful cut in half. And then this one here, I've cut it in a third, I was going to say a third of the way along. That's not right. I've cut it after 2 blocks. So I've got a 2 and a 3. Now I haven't tidied up the cutting so that I can see exactly where that goes back again if I want to put them back, and there's only quite a narrow bit in between, so you haven't got a lot to play with anyway. And then this one here I've also cut. There's a 3 and a 6. And these alternate. That's how it went. Like so. Small, large, etc. right the way through. And I just feel that gives me a little bit more to play with. And then this one I've left exactly as is. I did also think that with these ones here, there's a dot on the end, so if I wanted to, I could cut off a single dot here and use that on its own if I wanted to. So let me show you a couple of examples. I am matching it with the Layered Thought stamp sets. When you're doing backgrounds and things like that, you do need something bold to go with it, otherwise any small sentiment will get lost. So this is also in the annual catalogue. It's £19 and it's called Layered Thoughts, and we've got a nice big bold happy birthday We've got thinking and then of you. We've got thank you and love you. And we've also got love to you, or happy birthday to you. So any combination of those. Morning, Caroline. Thank you for joining us. So we're doing some fun with patterns this morning. So stripes and dots. And I've, as you can see, I've cut these up so that instead of having a set of 5, I've got rows of 2 and 3, and the same here. But it's easy to put them back together again if you need them. Let me show you a couple of samples and then we'll get cracking with some designs. So this one, I've stamped the happy birthday first, and then I just used the dots, the chevrons, and then the stripes below it. I've got some here that I did happy birthday and then just added some of the dots in 2s and 3s. So this one, you can see I've used the smaller pieces. So this is a set of 2 dots and 3 dots here, which is rather fun. Oops. And then this one, I've done a little bit of patterning, and then I would put a sentiment on the top. So really just going to have a play with some of those. Also, when you cut these down, they're much easier to use on the smaller blocks than having to use a large block. That's another benefit of that. Okay, so I've got some white card, and this is cut to 9.5 by 13.35, which means I can layer it onto 1 or 2 layers of card. And I'm thinking, because this is really bold, I'm going to layer it onto a coloured layer and then probably onto a coloured card. So let's do a happy birthday. Let's do one this way. So I'm going to grab the layered thoughts, and these are lovely bold sentiments, and this is just £19 for this set, and this is perfect for bold sentiment on the front but also inside of your cards. So let's just pop that onto here. Now if you have problems lining up, then what I would recommend you do is add a little bit of washi tape or a marker, like you can see actually has been left on here, to line all your pieces up with, and then you'll find it easier. You only have to line up the block. So let's do happy birthday across here. I've got a selection of colours. Let's just try one in all blues, I think. So I've got Secret Sea, Azure Afternoon and Coastal Cabana. The nice thing about this is you can go mad with colours, or you can keep it just to 1 or 2 colours. I hope you had a good weekend, Caroline, and a warm welcome to anybody else who has joined us as well this Monday morning. Okay, just making sure that is hopefully well inked, and I'm going to put that straight across the middle, slightly high, I think, like so. There we go, nice and bold. Okay, and let me see, what should we put? We could put dots above, so I'm going to use perhaps the line of 3 dots. I'm happy for it to go off the end. In fact, I prefer it that way. Otherwise, if it's not quite in line, you end up with a bigger gap on the top. Right, let's grab, just grab a piece of grid paper. And I don't know if you know this, but you can buy this grid paper from me. Very, very useful indeed. Protects your work surface, and it has some, obviously it has the grid lines. It has inches on one side and centimetres on the other. Right, let's pop in Azure Afternoon. Oh, I see. Caroline didn't do a lot this weekend. I had a fairly quiet weekend, which was good for a change. Normally it's fairly hectic one way or another, but it was fairly quiet. Okay, so I'm going to use the edge of the stamp that is straight, not the one that I've actually cut off, only because that gives me a bit of a better chance of getting it straight. And I'm just going to stamp this on the top. Slightly more tricky when you've got a camera right between you and the piece of card. Okay, there we go. There's my dots there, and in fact you could do it all in dots if you wanted to. Quite tempted. Let's do that. But I'm going to change the colour of the dots, I think. So I've got Azure Afternoon. Here I've got Coastal Cabana. And I'm guessing the schools are back after half term today. I don't know whether it's an inset day or what have you. On the basis it's fairly quiet out there. I suspect it probably is. Okay, so there we go. I've got that straight line there, and I'm hopefully going to angle it slightly so they're not directly in line. There we go. And what am I going to do next? I might do the Secret Sea. This is one of those stamp sets that I recommend you just get a whole load of card, either cut to size or slightly larger, and just have a play. Let's turn this round. And the good thing about these is if you cut the paper to size, then you know you're going to go off the edge either side. So there's that one. Hopefully you can see that nice and easy. Let's do one with some angles. Oh, they're back at school. Excellent. So you can mask off an area with a post-it note, for example, and then bring bits and pieces in. What I'm going to do is, I think, let's just stick with a happy birthday. Shall we? Yes. And let's change colours though. Let's just wipe that down. And I'll use some of the other stripes and thing this time as well. Let's go for Melon Mambo. I think I need to re-ink this one, definitely. You can tell by the amount of time it takes to ink it up. Okay, so for this one I'm going to put a happy birthday in slightly high of centre. Like so. Such a nice bold stamp. And then I'm going to bring the other ones in. So, for example, I might do some stripes this way, like that, and alternate them perhaps with these. So this is the set of 3, and then this is a set of 6. So I could, if I wanted to, so this is thin, wide, thin. I could cut it across here so that I've got a wide, thin, wide as well as an option, or I can leave it as is. Once you've cut it, you can obviously just put them back together on the block. So for example, I can just tuck that back in like so. Right, this is pink, so let's have, what am I going to put with that? I've got some Blackberry Bliss. Good morning, Bridie, thanks for joining us. So this one, I'm going to do at an angle, I think. Like so. And I might do another one, although it doesn't necessarily have to be in line. Right, I'm actually going to leave that one until I've built up this pattern, because I want it to be at the same angle. Right, let's switch to this stripy one here. I'm going to fill that in Melon Mambo. These are great for men's cards and boys' cards especially, because you're just pattern building. Like so. I'm going to change what I put on the top. So let's put some more of those stripes there. Let's add some dots. So now I'm going for the line of 2 dots. Like so. And I'm just using each of the edges of the stamp to line up with the previous one. I'm not measuring it or anything, I'm just doing it literally by eye. Let's change the pattern on this side a little bit. Like so. And then let's do Blackberry Bliss again. So you can just have some fun making loads of patterns. Now I've put my sentiment in the middle, but you could just stamp all the way over and then cut out a sentiment, and put it on the top. Let's add another layer of those. Okay, I think we need some bold stripes back in. I have got the big chevrons, but they feel a little bit too big for our purposes here. Like so. Let's just wipe those down. We could use, am I going to use the chevrons? No, I don't think I'm going to introduce the chevrons, but I am just sticking with 2 colours for the minute. But you could go wild and have, you know, lots of multicolours going on. And I could also come at an angle as well. I'm going to keep it the same while I'm here, because I've sort of started off all in one angle. I meant to do that in Melon Mambo. Never mind. Right, so I've got 4, 2. Let's use the 3 now. Obviously, if you wanted to do a really quick card, then just use the wider layers. So, like, if I can find it, this one here, that's just got 3 of the pattern stamps and 1 sentiment. Right, let's switch colours. So if you're wondering where the sentiment comes from, that's Layered Thoughts. Actually, right, let's put 3 in here. Not that you're going to see, oh, not going to see much of that, are you? Let's just do that one. And that. Okay, so I've got some dots coming in there, and let's do a layer of 2 dots, and now I'm hoping then I can sort of fill in, yes, definitely dots, and this colour. Now you could easily mask off this if you don't like the edge being like it is. You could stamp happy birthday, cover it with a post-it note, either cut quite close or cut as a rectangle. Right, let's bring this one in here. I think this will work. Famous last words. I'm going to take that one across there. I probably need that big stripe as well. There we go. Just to balance it out. So this is 3. Let's get the right colour. So as I said, you could cut this so you've got slim, wide, slim, and then reverse it. If you wished. There's that one. And then just a little line of dots on the end. There we go. So there's another design, like so. Morning, Susan. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Phew. I hope you're feeling a little better. I hope your event went well on Saturday. Sunday? One of those days. Okay, so we're playing with stripes and dots, this particular stamp set here. And what I've done is I've cut these stamps up. so that instead of having the full width, I've got narrower pieces. So my first one I've now hidden. Is it this one? Yes, it was. So this one I did with the Happy Birthday from Layered Thoughts, and then I just used a set of 3 dots. Hopefully you can see that. And then I've done this one here, sort of alternating stripes. If I thought about it, I could have put this stripe here, but I think it still works. It's designed to be fairly random, she says. So some other ideas are here, and this one, and then this one I've just done an all over design, and then I will cut out a sentiment to put on the top. Oh good, well done. And then this one I've just used lines of the dots. So I'll just do one more. Maybe I'll do one with the all the wider pieces. So there we go. Great fun for children especially. You could use them in football team colours, for example, if you wanted. Let's do, so we've got the wide chevron here, well, half chevron that I haven't used, and then we've got the set of 6, no, 1 2 3 4 5 6, yes, 6 and 3. So I'm going to use those 2. I'm going to use the line of 3 dots, I think, and then if I can fit it in, maybe that one. So let's put those to one side. Let's use a thank you combination this time round. Thank you. And let's have a change of colours as well. Let's go for those 3. Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green. I've also got Highland Heather there. So I'll do that. A bit bolder. Okay. Let's pop the thank you on first. Let's do this in Highland Heather. I have purchased some new ink pads. The others were getting rather well worn. Obviously you can refill all the ink pads, but mine do take a lot of what's the word? I'll say a lot of beating, but perhaps that wasn't quite the right description. Right, let's do thank, and then you. It's a little bit too small. Let's grab that one. Oops, something's about to slide off. There we go. So this is Highland Heather, complete with ink on my fingers. Like so. And then I've got these 2, Coastal Cabana, Granny Apple Green. Just selected at random really, nothing more than that. I want to use the chevrons and the dots. So let's do the chevrons next. go Coastal Cabana. Sorry, I've gone on a bit longer than I need to on a Monday morning, but I just want to show you basically how versatile these are for creating patterns. I better put a piece behind. I've got hair on there now. I could see that was going to happen. There was one sort of floating in the area. There we go. There we are. So just going to stamp these in here. So that's a Coastal Cabana. Let's do a line of 3 dots. Only because it's the same sort of width really, perhaps I'll just use these two together. Like so. And I think those will fit in Coastal Cabana. So we're doing Christmas this afternoon at our toaster, coffee and card, and then these will be our designs for tomorrow at Esquire's coffee shop. You could leave that blank, but I think I'm going to do yeah, another layer of Coastal Cabana. Like so. Now just turning that round so I've got the flat edge of the stamp next to the layer that I'm stamping, if that makes any sense. And then finally let's add, let's put some dots in Highland Heather, and we're done. Voila. Tuck these away. So I'll have plenty of choices of ink pads tomorrow at Coffee and Card. There we go. And then all I would do, for example, is layer these up. I'll just do one. So I've got the wrong colour. What I wanted was Highland Heather. What I got out was Fresh Freesia. So I'm just going to cut this in half so I know the remaining piece is half an A4. I'm going to cut this to 10 centimetres. Take half a centimetre off that side. Like so. And layer that onto a white card or Coastal Cabana. Let's have a look. Yeah, grab that. And we're done. So great set to have a play with, as I say, what I highly recommend is getting some sheets of card, cut them to size if you like, or leave them slightly larger so you can trim them down. So I'm going to do that, and then that, like so. That layer looks shorter. Oh, I know what I've done. No, I thought I'd got an offcut of something. Right, grab some glue and I'll just put this one together, and then after I've finished I'll put all the other ones together as well. So very easy set to use. Leave it as it is. Stamp it in one if you want, or cut them up like I've done, and all you need to do is just get some really sharp scissors and cut through. I put the labels on first, otherwise you're trying to trim the pieces. So we'll just show you. I am going to cut down my other bold set of stripes. So there's my finished card. So this one here, so I'm actually going to cut this again so that I've got wide, narrow, wide, and all you want to do is turn it over. Don't go on this side, just go straight through. Obviously this is fairly close, so you want to be a little bit more careful, but come in from either side like so. Good quality pointed scissors is what you need for that. Right, so now I've got narrow, wide, narrow, wide, narrow, wide. So I've got 3 lots of those, but it's very easy just to put those back together again. Like so. And then whichever side I cut that, like so. So I hope you've enjoyed the session this morning. I'll show you these other ones very quickly. So in these cases I just stamped the sentiment first from Layered Thoughts, and then just added some dots around it. You can see how quick and easy it is to make a whole stack of cards. There's that one as well, waiting for a sentiment in the middle. So thank you so much for joining me. It's time for me to go. I will be back again Wednesday morning with some new products. So we have some new online exclusives which go live tomorrow. So I'll be sharing some of those with you. So thank you very much indeed. I look forward to catching up with you soon. And look after yourselves and your loved ones in the meantime, and just keep crafting. Thank you. Bye bye for now.